Today's pattern of obstruction, it just isn't normal.
The confirmation process has been record-setting long.
Literally years of partisan obstruction.
Their obstruction is just unprecedented and unheralded.
There are hundreds of vacancies in the federal government, not because of a lack of money or resources, but because of inaction from Congress and from the President of the United States. There are more than 1,000 positions in the executive branch requiring Senate confirmation, and clashes over these confirmations are nothing new. But in recent years, these clashes have become more frequent and have lengthened the confirmation process.
Presidential nominations, particularly to cabinet and sub-cabinet level, have generally been pretty deferential to the president. The biggest moment that it really changed was 1989 when George H.W. Bush nominated John Tower, a former senator, to be Secretary of Defense. And this became the really first big cabinet fight of the cable TV news era.
You said Sunday you've never broken a pledge in your life. Does this include wedding vows?
As a matter of fact, I have broken wedding vows. I think I'm probably not alone in that connection.
Eventually, he was voted down. It was the big spark of this era. There's no simple confirmation anymore. George W. Bush, almost his entire cabinet was confirmed on the first or second day of his presidency. Joe Biden didn't get his full cabinet until well into the spring.
If you go back several administrations, many agency nominations were confirmed by unanimous consent. In President Obama's first year and in President Trump's first year, right, not a single agency nomination was confirmed by unanimous consent.
No single senator can actually stop somebody from getting through, but what they can do is extract a price. They can require the Senate to take hours of time to debate, time that the Senate doesn't have or that the Senate has to trade off against some other priority.
The Senate has coupled this heightened partisanship by significantly increasing the number of Senate-confirmed positions, which have grown by more than 40% since 1960. This growth has coincided with longer confirmation times, more vacancies, and a greater willingness by the president to rely on acting officials in the government.
So if you go all the way back to President Reagan, it took on average about 60 days for that nomination to get confirmed. And by President Obama, the time to confirm a successful nomination had doubled.
The reason why we have acting appointees is because the Senate confirmation process was taking so long. This has been a trend that has been increasing over the last 5 administrations.
And efforts to expedite the confirmation process have not always worked out as expected.
November of 2013, Harry Reid pulled what he called the nuclear option in order to more quickly confirm executive and judicial branch nominations.
The Senate is a living thing, and to survive it must change.
The year after the change, it took longer for agency nominations to get confirmed, even though the vote threshold had lowered.
Now, what we're seeing is not only that presidents are choosing to fill these positions with actings, choosing to extend the time until they submit a nominee. Also, the Senate is choosing to not move on these nominees once they are submitted.
In some extreme cases, agencies have gone years without a permanent head. U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services went without a Senate-confirmed director for the final year and a half of President Trump's term. The Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives has not had a Senate-confirmed director since 2015, which also happens to be the only Senate-confirmed director in its history. And the Food and Drug Administration went without a commissioner nominee for the first nearly 10 months of the Biden administration.
These agencies are hollowed out, and I've heard from sources throughout the government that is a real roadblock in trying to execute on the Biden agenda.
For some, particularly in the Senate, there's a sense that they are ensuring that their voice is heard by having more Senate-confirmed positions. The irony is that by having such an overwhelming number, actually their voice is heard even less, and that's because they're never getting to these people.
Senators in both parties have slow-walked the process, and it can really hurt in terms of the quality of people that really want to actually serve in these positions.